What's up, party people? Give us a minute to get some people in here and we will get started making some stuff. Night of Rin, what is up, my man? All right, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me this afternoon. My name is Chris with Crashbox. My wife Kelly and I do all these crazy dioramas and projects and show displays and whatever falls in our lap. She never wants to be on camera, doesn't even want her voice on camera, so you won't see her today. But I'm going to show you guys just some basic stuff. Don't know, if this will be an ongoing thing. I know a lot of us are home, whether we like it or not, with what's going on. Also, you guys in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me okay. This is really just kind of a rigged together setup with my webcam and a tripod and my laptop. So if you guys can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up in the chat or something. Or if I need to talk louder, I can. So I just want to talk about some basic tools and stuff here. I know right now it's kind of hard for people to run out and get stuff, but you never know what might be in the shed or shaky at your neighbor's house or something like that. So I'm going to move Sovereign Knight Batman out of the way for the moment. He can hang out back here. And let's just talk about materials and stuff. So a lot of what we do of late, especially, is with our X-Carve machine, which is right there. Say hi, X-Carve. Yeah, that's right. So I know that mostly what we do with that of late is PVC. PVC is not a material you can work without having a piece of machine like that. I mean, you can, but Lord knows it's literally like carving stone. So PVC is like this material here is PVC. PVC is mostly pipes, like pipes in your house are PVC. This is a piece of just what is this, 1/4 inch PVC. A lot of the stuff I build for Mezco and whatnot is PVC. A lot of stuff I build for The Amazing is PVC. If you got the Popeye Doc or the Office from me, those are PVC. So that's that material. Who is calling me? I don't know who you are. You're not getting to talk to me. So XPS foam is, I think what most people start out with, at least. It is readily available. The pink stuff is really the only color I like. You can get in the States, at least. You can get blue and green, depending on where you live, and that's based on the climate. Blue or green is sold at Lowe's commonly. This is the pink. It is the Pink Panther stuff. It is available at Home Depot nationwide. The widths you find depend on where you live, climate-wise. So I'm in Maryland, and what's readily available everywhere, I believe, is the 1-inch foam. So that's what this is. It's available in 2x2 sheets, which I bought some of that. I had to unfortunately had to leave the house this week for an appointment, so I stopped by Home Depot and grabbed some foam. You can also buy in 4x8 sheets if you have a way to transport that. I often just cut it down in the parking lot myself into manageable pieces. This is 2-inch, I believe. Let's check. Yeah, so this is 2-inch. You can get it in 1.5. You can get it in 2-inch also. This is good for, thicker things you're doing. So one of the things we're going to do today, we're going to use the 2-inch. half inch was prevalent because it's used for home insulation, and the thinner the stuff, the less effective it is, and it doesn't get super cold in Alabama. So it was readily available there. It wasn't when I moved here, but I did find one Home Depot that stocked it, so I have a decent supply of that as well. So that's the material. I know people have done some incredible work using Project Foam Board, I've seen. And you know, the cool thing about building dioramas is you can basically use whatever you have, whatever you can find. So today we're going to be using the foam. So a sharp knife is always nice. I like the number 11 X-Acto blades. Pretty readily available, I believe. I use them probably longer than I should. I actually have a sharpener I try to sharpen them with as well. Shout out to my Nerd Rage Radio co-host Joe KW, who is a very fond of sharpening blades and not buying new ones. But yeah, I probably use them a little longer than I should. Another thing I use a lot of, and if you have, I don't know where all of they are, and I know they're in America, is Harbor Freight Tools, the cheap tool store. They sell these little box blades for like 59 cents. I love these blades. I don't know why. They work well. You know, use them till they're dull and throw them away. But I probably have 20 of these laying around that I bought last time I was there. This is an all AWL. It's basically a really sharp pointed, looks like a screwdriver with just a point. You see them sometimes in kits with picks and stuff. I've got half a dozen of them around here. An ink pen, just regular old ink pen, and something to draw lines with. So I've got a couple different things here. A square is always nice, and this is readily available once again at, you know, your Home Depot or whatever. I actually saw one of these at the Dollar Tree the other day. So it was super thin, obviously, but this is, you know, just a standard square with inch marks on it. Some of them, I have another one somewhere that's got it's got millimeters on it too. So if you want to use it that way, this is another kind of square. It's kind of hard to do straight stuff with it because of the way it's bowed out, but I have that as well. And then just a regular old straight edge ruler. This one actually has the cork back, which I'm still undetermined if I like that or not. So the other thing we're going to be using today is something to texture the foam with. So this foam, if you've never messed with this stuff, let me grab a piece I'm not going to use today. This stuff is super super easy to work. As you can see, I'm just pressing my thumb in and texturing it. So guess what happens when you take a rock, like this is a lava rock out of like a garden or something. See if it'll focus. Anyways, you get the vibe. You take that and you push it into the foam, and it gives you texture. So you do that repeatedly, move the rock around different angles, and you can get all sorts of texture there. And once you put some paint on that, it's amazing what kind of detail you can get out of that. The other way to do that without having a rock, which literally you can go outside and get a rock. I think everybody is in a situation where you can go outside and find a rock. Aluminum foil works really good. So balled up aluminum foil, you can press it in as well and get textures with it. You know, use some different sides to it, different shapes like that, and put some texture in things. So that's you know, little not really a secret, but that's one of the real easy techniques to really start adding texture to this stuff. Thanks to everybody that's hanging out tonight in the chat. Appreciate it. I know you might not have a lot to do right now. Your favorite sports ball team isn't playing, and I'm a big wrestling fan, and gosh, these empty arena shows, man, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so I've got a couple shapes I've made. I believe someone saw this in my picture and thought it was some sort of pipe. It's definitely not for any sort of extracurricular activities other than building some dioramas. So I'll post it up on Instagram asking if you guys would like to see some tutorials. And I got a huge response, so thank you to everybody that responded. A ton of you know, requests for what we're going to do. A lot of people just ask for basic 101 stuff, so that's kind of what we're going to do today. And there's some specific stuff I'd like to get into as well. But right now, let's get started. I'm going to try to do kind of two things at once because paint takes a long time to dry sometimes. So I want to have a couple things to bounce back and forth from. So the first thing we're going to do, and one of the main reasons I bought an X-Carve, is not to have to carve bricks anymore. But we're going to carve bricks. And I'm going to show you a little piece I have here. Now, this is made out of PVC, and this was all done with the X-Carve. It's just, truth be told, it was some pieces last summer when we did the stuff for SDCC. I had some pieces left over, and I just slapped them together and added some pieces to it. But you know, it's just a little base here with the windows cut out, bricks, and some I don't even remember what I used for the base here. I think it's sand and Mod Podge, kind of give it a crazy texture, and added some moss stuff to it and kind of BS the windows behind there. But I'm just going to kind of take this as a measurement for the bricks. So I did measure it out earlier, and you can do the bricks whatever size you want. To get it in something that seems kind of realistic in a 12th scale, I'm going to do 3/4 by 1/4 for the bricks. Now, this is the painful part of this, is laying all this out. It is tedious. It is time consuming. The first thing we're going to do before we do that is figure out how big we want this thing to be. So I'm just going to kind of ballpark on this, make it about this size. And we don't have to do the bricks all the way up. So let's see, right about there. All right. So, and then, you know, that's actually going to work out great. And this is just a scrap piece of foam. We'll just do to there for the back, and then I'll do out the bottom. We may not even do all the way up. We might just dress this a little bit. So I'm going to take my my square here, knowing that's about where we want it to be. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Yeah, that looks pretty straight. And I'm going to use my my super awesome knife from the Harbor Freight to cut the foam here. So I'm going to get on the line and pull it through. You're never going to pull it through in the first one. Just take your time, do some long straight cuts. The better you do with this, the easier it'll be to make sure it's straight when you get done. All right. Once you get it most of the way through, and that's not all the way through, but once you get most of the way through, you can kind of snap it off. Yeah. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So now we're going to have something like this. And a question someone asked me was about magnets and how to install magnets. We're going to do that on this as well. Actually, we will do that first. So to do magnets, you need magnets. In this case, we're going to use a hot glue gun, and then we're going to use the razor blade. So I'm going to grab my hot glue gun, which, as you can see, my shop is not very organized because I still haven't really cleaned it up since the Toy Fair projects. Let me see. I had it a minute ago. If you see my hot glue gun, I'll give you $1 as the glue. Let's see here. Oh, it's behind the computer. You bastard. Yeah. So I use the fanciest hot glue gun in the world. See? Fancy. So I'm going to plug it in, let it warm up. There's a million different magnets in the world you can use. I unfortunately don't have a package for what I use. It's the ones from Michaels, the round ones here. I don't know, I'm trying to show it to the computer. That's not where the camera is. They're the strong ones at Michaels. It's like $9.99 for the pack of, I don't even know how many comes in it. But I will tell you this technique I'm going to show you. Shout out to Al Figures. I stumbled on a video of his one time after really struggling with this process myself. So the super easy way to do this, and here's the magic. So you're going to do, let's say you're going to do 2 magnets, right? So they'll be there and there. So in the base here, we're going to put the magnets right about there, and we're going to press circle down just like that. All right. Once again, this is not a fine art project or anything. Ballparking this stuff is fine. All right, so you can see now we've marked out the 2 holes, right? What's up, everybody joining? That is probably, let's see here. This is the AdTech High Temp Project Pro. I don't know if this is the actual $2.99 Michael's hot glue gun or not, but here it is. It's getting warm. So here's the magic in this. You're going to take your razor blade, and I hope it's sharp. I guess we'll find out. And you're basically just going to trace around the hole here as careful as you can. Once again, doesn't have to be 100% perfect. All right, so you've got that hole cut through. Here's the magic. Come around the back, and you cut. This is how you're supposed to do it, actually. You put your magnet up here, and you can press it a little bit. And then now there's a mark right there. We're going to take our knife, and we're going to fillet it. I love magnets. How do they work? I'm going to slide this in here like this. I'm going to cut it as straight as I can across the back here. And if all goes well, comes right out. See? It's mind-boggling. The first time I saw owl figures do that, I said, wow, because I'd been over here picking it out, and I couldn't ever get it to glue in right. Mind-boggling. Now, you want to check your magnet and make sure it's flush. So mine's a little off on the back side here. So I'm just going to go back in real quick with my knife and clean this up just a little bit. Let's check it now. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be pretty flush. So there you go. That's the secret. That's the magic. I'm going to go ahead and do this other one here. And however you want to use magnets to hold your projects together, you can. A lot of the stuff I've been doing with PVC for photography setups doesn't use magnets. It's literally just taped together. Like a lot of the stuff I send to The Amazing is just panels with blue tape on them. The blue tape mafia, we like to say. So the office, if you order the office project from us, that just was held together with tape. Just because the material is so thin, and to get the look, that's how you have to do it. So let's check this one now. What's up, everybody in the chat? Thanks for joining. Yeah, so that one's going to sit flush as well. So now we know about that. Looks like our hot glue is hot. And hot glue is hot. Ask me how I know. I can barely feel the tips of my fingers anymore. Let me try to get a paper towel here. My paper towel dispenser isn't dispensing. There we go. All right. Making a mess of my my cutting mat here. By the way, I have a cutting mat down. These are available pretty much every sewing department of every store. They come in a million different sizes. This is kind of it's not the biggest one by far, probably a medium sized one, but they're really nice to lay out stuff if you need to measure stuff out. Also, you can cut the hell out of them, and it doesn't matter because it's a self-healing cutting mat. So it's worth the investment, especially if you're working on, say, your kitchen table or something, and you want to stay, I don't know, married or with your girl or whatever. So we're going to glue these magnets in. This is how I do it. I take the whole stick of magnet. I add the glue to the magnet. And then I put the whole stack in here just so I have something to press on. And I hold it for just maybe 5 seconds. That's my elbow you're looking at. And then I slide it off. And if all goes well, that'll stay. So looks like it's doing pretty well so far. All right, so we're going to do the other one. Hot glue. And drop it in. And you can actually, if you use hot glue right, and your hole is not level or deep enough, you can press in the right direction, and the hot glue will melt the foam in the direction you want it to go. So that one, yeah, that'll be fine. It looks like. The challenge about magnets and foam is they don't always stick forever. So if you ever have a project, whether you've built it or you bought it from somebody, and a magnet comes loose, hot glue or super glue will work in most cases. That's right. I'm a LaCroix boy. Don't tell anybody. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do the magnets on the bottom here. And you're probably wondering, how are you ever going to line those magnets up? Well, it's actually pretty easy. So what we're going to do is take our stack here and add a couple more magnets to the stack. So now we've got magnets on magnets. We're going to take our piece of foam here and we're going to line it up the way we want it and simply press a bit, moving it back and forth. Guess what happens? We've got our holes for our magnets. So we're going to do the exact same process on the bottom here. Let me see if I can do this where you guys can see and I can still do it. And when you get your marks made, if you need a little bit better mark, obviously you can just stick your magnets back on here and squish them down a bit. We're going to cut out the holes. Hopefully nobody in the diorama community is bothered by sharing secrets like this, although it's not a secret. You know, I think a lot of things were who is calling me? I don't know who this is. I don't know these numbers. I'm going to put my phone on silent. I should have done that already. I do apologize. This very professional video is ruined now by my inconsiderateness. There we go. So the internet has really changed the way the world works with a lot of things. I mean, you think about, you know, pro wrestling and stuff like, you know, arts and crafts and metal shaping, painting techniques. People kind of guarded that stuff for a long time, but now it's pretty much out in the open, out in the wind. All right, so we're gonna use the you can use either side of the material to work off of. I have noticed that sometimes the Pink Panther print, or you know, the writing or whatever's on there, sometimes will actually push through your paint. So this is easier for me always just to work off the back of the material. So I'm gonna make the cut here to create our pocket, so to speak. There's one. It's so hard to remember people are trying to watch me and get my hands out of the way. Sometimes they just don't. You didn't quite go deep enough, and you got to redo it a bit. Let's see here. Yeah, I got most of that one out. All right, so now here's the fundamental thing to remember. Magnets only work the way magnets work. So if they don't go together, they don't go together. So you got to make sure that your magnets are facing the right direction when you put them back on. So the easy thing for me to do is I just put my stack of magnets on the current magnet, and I know this end goes into the foam. And maybe it's just me. Maybe this is just very easy to come up with. I know some people that actually will go through and put a dot on one side of the magnet. In some magnets, like I have some right here, actually. They're little bitty magnets that I had bought for a project and actually didn't end up using them. These are tiny. You can see the difference in size here. Tiny little magnets, but they actually have a hole in the middle. They come like that. And I've run into something like that before off of Amazon, but I normally use the ones from Michael's. I seem to have the best luck out of those. And Michael's always has a coupon, so they're like $6 for a huge box of them. All right, so now we know which direction we're going. We're going to drop hot glue here and shove it in a hole. That's what she said. Let that dry for a minute. All right, and then check up. Pro tip here, whenever you're dealing with magnets, especially if it's in foam like this, lean it away. Don't yank it up. If you lean it away, it doesn't put as much pressure on the magnet. All right, so we're going to do the other side now. This hot glue gun from Michael's, Tyler. I don't know, man. There's the glue. And all right, there it is. Okay. This hot glue dries super quick. It's not the strongest thing in the world, but you know, it's good for mixing media, I guess is a good way to say it. So we're using a metal magnet essentially and this polystyrene foam. So there you go. Easy enough. If you guys have any questions while I'm doing this in the chat, please drop them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer any questions I can. So that's magnets. Easy enough, I guess. Once you know the secret, it's easy enough. This is actually kind of sort of reversible if you wanted it to be. I didn't line them up perfectly, but it's pretty close. So, all right. I guess now we will start on some brick action here. So we're not going to go all the way up with bricks, mainly because it takes a long time, and I don't want to tie you guys up with the monotony of me drawing out bricks. So let's throw the base plate over there for a minute. And if you look at a wall in a street in the city, a lot of the time there'll be mixed medias of bricks. It won't all be the same brick. It won't all be the same color brick. So we're gonna go up. Let's see. Let's measure our piece here. So we're right at it's like 9 7/8 by 8. So we're gonna go up 3 inches here and draw a mark. And let's see, 3 inches. Sometimes these things, there we go, 3 inches. These things make me feel dumb sometimes. So we're just gonna make a little mark there, and then we'll square it up and draw a line. And hopefully it's relatively straight. All right, and it's not at all, but we'll work through it. So that's going to be, we're gonna start our bricks here. So this would be just like, we'll finish this out just like it's concrete, like a concrete base for this wall, and we'll do the bricks. So as I had mentioned, we're going to do the bricks 3/4 by 3/4 by a 1/4 inch tall. So that means we need to make 1/4 inch marks all the way up on this wall. I am going to actually redraw this, try to make it a little bit more square. Like I said, I have machines that normally do this stuff for me, but I want to show you guys how to do it. All right, let's straighten my line up. So now we're going to mark this just down the side every 1/4 inch. I mean, it's nothing exciting to see here. I'm just going to go up a 1/4 and draw a line all the way up. So we're going to have lots of little bricks here. Once again, you can make your bricks whatever size you want. Just to try to keep it as realistic as possible, I'm going to go with this size, a 1/4 inch. If you want to do a cinder block wall instead of a brick wall, that's always easy to do as well. Just look around, or you know, at this point, don't look around, but get your Google Maps out, or just look at some buildings or a building that you see every day. You probably don't really pay attention to the way the bricks are laid or anything like that. It's amazing once you start doing stuff like this, the way you really start to appreciate architecture a little bit more, I guess is the best way to say. And I definitely do. I definitely do appreciate the architecture that I see now out in the world. All right, so let's see if you can see my pin marks. Yeah, so that's 1/4 inch all the way up. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side just to help me draw straight lines across here in a minute. So we'll base this off of this line. It appears to be pretty straight. Let's see here. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the Michael's 299 gun. Mine's been going strong for a long time too, man. Let's see here. 1/4 inches all the way up. So tell me in the chat, guys, what are you doing? Are you home from work? Has your job Has your job told you to work from home? That's what my situation is. Or have you, just been told to kick rocks? Are you out of school? Tell me what's going on. Are the kids driving you nuts? If you have kids, or your kids, I guess everybody's kids are home. I don't know of any school that's in, really. My kids are out it's supposed to be for 2 weeks, but realistically, I think it's probably going to be longer than that. Hopefully these lines are straight. All right, so now I got my lines drawn across. So now I'm going to just use my pin here and start drawing lines. These are going to be tiny little bricks, but that's going to look pretty good, I think. Let's see. Just checking my marks there. Looks like I'm doing pretty good so far on the first one, although I missed my mark bad. Well, I'm spoiled by that machine, guys. Well, Sam's self-isolating, huh? Yeah, that sucks, dude. That really sucks. I know that a lot of people are doing that, especially if they've traveled. Let's see here. Now, this is going to be a pretty aggressive brick wall, I think. Magnets work great, by the way, on metal rulers. All right. My dots have failed me, so we're just going to kind of knock these out. There we go. So once again, this is a very tedious process. I actually thought about pre-marking all this off and working that way, but no pain, no gain, I guess. 10 days. You've been home for 10 days. You've been able to venture. Well, I don't know how much venturing there's going to be to do, Sam. It'd be an adventure to venture, I think. EE Prime working from home. Hey, if you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I think that's what I'm supposed to say. Something like that, at least. Once you get a little bit of a rhythm going here, you can actually use the bottom of your ruler to help you space it out as well. Make sure you're somewhat straight, which I'm not 100% sure I am, but kind of committed at this point. And at the end of the day, I'm just showing you guys some techniques here, how to do this. Let's see here. Looks like we're doing pretty straight here. And this is actually the easy part. The next part's the mind-numbing part. The actual individual bricks. Will I ever make any more of the office sets? Possibly. That might be something, Alex, that we will do. I'm thinking about offering up all the runs we've done just as one-offs for people. As long as I can get material, that's one concern of mine is as this continues to go on, I order my material actually from a company locally, but I want to make sure that they're going to be able to provide the material. I need to actually contact them tomorrow and see if they're still doing deliveries. Okay, so that's the first part there. Is the bricks are lined out that way. Now we got to line them out the other way. So we said we were going to do them at 3/4, right? So we'll just start at the bottom here. So I need to make a mark. I'm going to start at 1/4 here. And then I'm going to go to 1 inch, and then 1/4, and then 1/2, and then 1/4. Wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Let's see. That's, yep. And then there again, and there. And then 3/4. And then 1/2. And then 1/4. And 1. And 3/4. Okay, that'll actually work out good. Now the trick here is, I don't know if you guys can see my marks. The trick here is you have to alternate that. So basically, I'm going to have to do that again on the next line up. But what we're going to do now is take our ruler here, line it up here, and we're going to, on every other line, draw out our bricks. And then the magic will really start to happen. You just got to remember to skip every other one. That's the part you got to remember. And even if your pen's not making full contact and marking it, as long as it's indenting it, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to do some cool stuff with this before it's over with. All right, so then we'll go down to the next mark, and just to show you the progress there, it's, yeah, just ignore the the marks there that didn't end up working the way I wanted them to, but we'll get it done. Going to online college for Nida Ren. Yeah, Sam, I can show you those at some point. I've got a set finished of the default backers for the Autobots and Decepticons. All right, let's get this next one lined up and get started making these bricks. Should really appreciate anybody who cuts bricks for you, because this is a very tedious, mind-numbing process by the time you get it to the finished product. This is just like baby steps here to get it started. All right, so you can see we got some bricks happening now. Not bricks on the dollar, like our buddy Bricks on the Dollar, but getting there. So where you guys live, is it challenging to get essentials, toilet paper, and, you know, bread, milk? I know talking to some people, it seems like it's hard to get like hamburger meat, chicken breast, things of that nature. What's it look like out there for you guys? Where I am here in Maryland, I mean, I haven't gone looking for anything exotic, but I haven't had any problems finding you know, what we use on a daily, weekly basis. Fun Toys fan, hi. I do normally use a machine to do this, but you know, I just wanted to share some techniques with people that may be stuck at home that don't have a machine. And I'll show the machine running. I actually have a video that I'll go up later tonight using the machine for a project. So if you're interested in seeing the CNC run, you can see that as well. Yep, bricks and bricks and bricks. It's too bad we can't speed this up, right? That'd be great. Speed it up on a machine. Yeah, this is the I think most people that do this diorama stuff will tell you drawing out bricks or cutting out bricks or however you do it is terribly mind-numbing. And it's very frustrating to try to get it just right. But if you ever look at, older masonry work, it's not always perfect. There's gaps and stuff's crooked and dealing with crooked walls and things of that nature. So in New York, everybody bought up all the toilet paper. You have meat. So if you have meat and no toilet paper, I don't want to be your neighbor. Let's see here. MAG finds brickwork peaceful. Maybe I'm just impatient. I don't know. It hurts my hands too. I've cracked my knuckles my entire life. My dad always told me that was gonna regret that when I was older, and I guess I'm older now. So let's see here. Oh, I can't see that. And I'm left-handed, which is a curse to do anything really. But we'll make the most of it. We are almost halfway done with the uprights here, and then we'll do some other fun stuff here. Just remembering every other. It's very important. Because if you don't do it, your bricks don't look right. All right, one more, and then we'll do the other side of it. There we go. To the edge here, and I couldn't see my marks anymore. All right, so we've got bricks on every other line. Doesn't look too terrible. So now we're going to take, we're going to kind of eyeball the middle of this first line of bricks here, and we'll just do that all the way across. Because that's what you want to do, is you want to line them up right there in the middle to give it the actual brick wall effect. Yeah. So I'm just marked them there. So now I'm going to use my square again and lay out and just remember every other. Go to town. Sometimes I just do this just with a razor, but I thought it would be better to show it this way. Yeah, so that's starting to shape up already. See the bricks coming to life. Just all of a sudden is there. Starting to come together. Yeah, definitely. MEG is talking about Gundams. That is a very patient process. If you're painting a Gundam and putting it together, I've done a couple Gundams, before. Nothing recently. I haven't messed with a Gundam in a while. I'm actually gonna just freehand these now. I'm brave like that, I guess. I'm going back through them with a razor, so it's just kind of a guideline, anyways. Anybody binging any shows while you're at home? Anything you've been waiting to watch that you're going to try to plow through? I want to watch the second season of Altered Carbon on Netflix. Really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the first season of that, and apparently there's an animated series coming out. I saw also, so that should be interesting. But if I'm always open for suggestions, if anybody has any suggestions on shows to binge on any streaming services or anything, maybe outside the box. I need to watch that. Can't think of what it's called. It's on Amazon. It's got Al Pacino in it. It looks like it's good. Yeah, we're getting there. Coming along. Question for Mezco Toy Fair and SGC. How far advanced? How far advanced? So, truth be told, it's normally a mad scramble. The ideas come. It just really depends, on what it is. Sometimes they change their mind late in the game. But I actually enjoy working under pressure and under a deadline. I have more of a drive to finish stuff that way. Sometimes not having a deadline, I really drag my feet on stuff. But having that deadline really gives me motivation to get stuff done. So it's not as much time as I think would be ideal, but it's enough time for us to get the projects done and delivered. Whether sometimes the stuff that goes to New York, if I'm going to the show, I'll bring it up myself. But most of the time, it's shipped out. So I have to have time to get it to them. On top of finishing the work, and my favorite part, no, not really. Probably my least favorite part is packing up this stuff anytime, especially if it's some big, complicated projects. I have seen The Boys season 1. Yeah, I did enjoy that. I'm looking forward to season 2. I thought that was really good. I've never read any of the comics, but I really did enjoy it. It's really a cool kind of peek, I think kind of inside baseball and what would happen in that kind of scenario. Nobody's really anywhere near as good as they pretend they're going to be. So we are getting there, gentlemen and ladies. If you're watching, shout out to all the ladies watching. Right, ladies love dioramas. LL. No, it doesn't work. Castlevania. I've heard Castlevania is good. I actually saw Castlevania toys at GameStop last time I was there. I didn't even know those were getting made. I'm normally pretty plugged in on that stuff. Yeah, I guess it's completely new fiction compared to the games. I mean, I remember playing Castlevania years ago, but I can't say that I don't even know if they make Castlevania games anymore. Thank you, Natarin. That was that the Marvel one at Toy Fair was a cool project. I actually pitched that idea. I had looked at the helicarrier fight at the end of Winter Soldier, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and taken some elements from that. And I knew it had to be in an upright case. So that was a cool direction to go with that. The 3D, the 360 displays are challenging because you can't hide anything. So that is always another level of challenge, I'll say, to getting those done is, hiding wires and, not letting seams show and truly being 360. And then, obviously having the X carve to work on the PVC. That one was all PVC. Was always helpful. Almost done drawing out these bricks. My hand's not numb just yet. But this will be the most tedious of the work we will do today. Once again, there's a million ways to do this kind of stuff. If you come up with some new ideas of your own, by all means, go for it. So there we got a brick wall. That are in your rewatching The Mandalorian and Star Wars and the Clone Wars. I watched The Mandalorian probably 4 times as it went on. I'll watch it again at some point. I'm just glad they got season 2 filmed before the shutdown. So there's our brick wall. Hopefully that was educational in some aspect. It's not rocket science. It's just patience. Patience, a razor blade, and a straight edge is really what you need to get some bricks to do. Let's see. Here's our base piece. Let's just do like a couple lines on it. So let's measure it out and kind of square it up. So it's 8 inches. Let's do, let's see. We'll do 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6. And we'll just draw some lines on it and then do a line across the whole thing. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but the straighter you can get this kind of stuff, the better it's going to look. Then we'll just do 1. Let's see, what do we got here? 4 1/2-ish. Then half of it's covered up. So we'll do, what are we to the magnets? We'll do 1 1/4. There we go. All right. So nothing fancy for the bottom, just lining it out. But where'd you go, Batman? There he is. Pretty straightforward. All right, so we're gonna work on the rocks piece of this. I'm gonna do some rocks, show you guys how to do that too today. And honestly, if you guys want to, I will do one of these every day while we're home together, let's say. Don't want to say the Steve Corino word, as one of my favorite wrestling channels has dubbed it. But yeah. So we'll stick this to the side for a minute and we'll talk about making some rocks. So rocks are pretty much whatever you want them to be. Rocks can be any shape, size, form you want. So we're going to use the 2-inch foam to make some rocks and probably some 1-inch foam. If you don't have the 2-inch foam, you can glue 2 pieces of 1-inch. I'm sorry, let me start over. If you don't have 2-inch foam, you can glue 2 pieces of 1-inch foam together and work with it like that. There's a million different glues you can use. I've talked about this stuff before. Hot Wire Foam Factory Styro Goo. I saw another builder. I cannot remember who it was. Shout out to you. Suggested using this. It's the clear Gorilla Glue for bonding as well. I don't know if it's any different or any better, but I will let you know maybe even in this process what it's like. So we're gonna make a couple rocks. This is pretty decent sized piece, not huge. How big is this? This is 5 inches basically. So we're going to just make a mess here, really. So we're gonna use our trusty green box cutter here, and I'm gonna cut it in half. And I don't even have to cut it in half. I'm gonna draw a line and then break it because it doesn't matter, right? And This 2-inch foam comes with these brake lines in it. I guess if using it as you're supposed to, studs are on 16. Anybody that's ever worked construction or understands the way houses are built, there's normally a stud every 16 inches. So the stuff breaks at 16, so you can just stick it in between your building materials. So sometimes you'll see these when I use them. They'll have, this is where I broke it off to make it more manageable. It's Mountain Dew time, folks. I guess I must drink them while I have them. Yes, it was The Hunter is the name of that show with Al Pacino. I want a show with Al Pacino. Anybody that's a big Tropic Thunder fan might remember our guy Al Pacino. All right, so we're making rocks. And there's really not a right way to do this. You just start knocking edges down till it kind of starts looking like something. You can actually just break the foam off too if you don't want to carve it. And if you're doing something, you know, super specific for a photo or whatever, you don't even have to finish all sides. You can just do one side. But I normally try to finish stuff like this on multiple sides, so it's got multiple uses. Maybe just give it a different look on different sides here. I might move this camera tomorrow because me being left-handed is not helping things out. The Apocalypse Now the other day. I don't think I've ever seen that movie, truth be told. That's one I've never seen. I watched The Warriors again recently. That movie would never get made in 2020 or any time in the past 10 years. But it is a very good movie. Anybody hasn't seen The Warriors? I'm just kind of having my way with this block here. Try to get it down. You can also sand this stuff. It is pretty nasty for you to sand it. I have sanded it plenty and probably not done the care I needed to protect myself, but oh well. If you don't know what rocks look like, hopefully you know what rocks look like. You can go outside or take pictures off the internet, you know, reference photos. I use a lot of reference photos for stuff, different things. But this 2-inch foam, I think, for 12 scale stuff works a lot better than you know, the 1-inch stuff, because it gives you more of a boulder style finish that you can get into. So it's coming along so far. Looking kind of like a rock. I normally leave the bottoms flat just so they'll sit, you know, flat, unless I need a round boulder for something, or somebody asks me for a round boulder. And the paint and weathering is really where you're gonna make your rocks look good. There we go. It's coming along. There we go. It's getting there. You just gotta take your time and kind of chop away at it and get it where you want it. You can't really mess it up because it's it's a rock. You just want to take the squareness out of it is the challenging part. I think a lot of people have with this kind of stuff. Free shaking cameras today, no charge for that. Let's see here. Try not to make a huge mess, because, you know, I have to clean it up. If anybody ever, you know, needs just some scrap foam, come to my house. I'll give you all the scrap foam you want. All right. So, you know, we use XPS foam to create the cave for Baron bins. which actually Kelly, my wife, did that. The finishing and everything, and most of the carving. I kind of started it with the basic shapes. Of course, that was an interesting finish on there. It had like a pearl finish to make it look like it was the whole underwater vibes. But I actually kind of cut my teeth starting doing dioramas, making rock stuff for Transformers back in the day when we first got started doing this kind of stuff. All right, we are almost bouldered here. Just got one little side left here I want to knock down. And you can knock some of the edges down too, just to kind of give it a more of a rounder shape, you know. And once again, if you're making these, you can make them however you want. And this is a super easy thing to start with if you're really wanting to start doing this kind of stuff. Is you know, making rocks, because it kind of teaches you most of the techniques. Hey, hit the thumbs up for me, guys and gals, if you're watching. Appreciate it. Helps move it up the algorithm just a touch. All right, we are almost there, I think. Ready for the next step. All right, I'm just going to round the edge a little bit and probably call this one ready for the next step. Okay, almost there. Obviously, you want a set of rocks, but just to show you what this is like, I'll just do one for the moment. And you can add some little jagged pieces in here. All right. There's a rock. Ooh, here's see. Batman would be a prime candidate for hanging around rocks. So there's our Sovereign Knight with his rock. All right. So next thing we're going to do is take our foil ball and then just press it in here. And it's going to do two things. It's going to add some texture to it. And it's also going to sharpen down some of those edges. I don't know if you guys can actually see what I'm doing or not. Use the different sides of the foam or the foil rather, to knock this down. Coming along. All right. I'm going to use our rock a little bit. You can press a little harder with that to add some more texture and whatnot to it. Use the pointed end to kind of stab at it a bit. All right. There's our rock. So that's how you make rocks. So, you know, if you want to make them out of 1-inch foam, 2-inch foam, however you want to do it, a million different ways. a million different ways to do it. So what we accomplished, knocked over paintbrushes. What we accomplished in a little over an hour, we magnetized these two pieces. We drew out our bricks. We drew out our floor. We made a rock. So we got all that done. I will be back tomorrow, and we will work on some paint techniques. I'm probably going to go ahead and run through these with a razor tonight, but we'll definitely be back tomorrow at some time to start some painting on these, and I'll show you some cool stuff we can do on the bricks. I am going to be giving away all this stuff I make, so make sure you're active and you're watching in the chat live if you can. Anybody that's not, I appreciate you also. I'll probably split it up and do a live giveaway and a subscriber giveaway. So let me show you real quick. I know Sam had asked me to see the detolf backers. Give me 2 seconds. I'll grab one of those for you, or both of them. All right. Here is the Decepticon piece. I've got to put some matte clear on it because it's so shiny. It the light just bounces right off of it. So I couldn't find a decent purple that wasn't you know, pink basically. So this is the purple Decepticon. And the orange one also needs to get a clear on it, but came out super duper clean. New process I've kind of adopted on these. But these are available for pre-order. Hopefully, I don't think I'm gonna have a problem getting the material to do them. Shouldn't be an issue. So if you're interested in these, hit me up. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. You could have been anywhere in the world, but hopefully you learned something today. And if you like this, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, share the video if you know people that would enjoy it. And we will see you back tomorrow. Okay, everybody? Have a great evening. Be safe out there. Don't kiss anybody on the mouth.